All right. Hello and welcome to this episode where we are going to talk about the importance of detaching from our feelings, specifically thought, anxiety, and panic. Now, in the last episode, I talked about the idea of detaching from the voice of the mind, right? And really seeing the thoughts that are in your head as something that you are experiencing, not you yourself, right? And that subject object awareness that we discussed. And so in this episode, I think it's just obvious and like an appropriate follow up to really talk about the idea of detaching from our feeling states as well. Now, and I'm going to be very clear about what I mean when it comes to detaching. And we're not talking about things like suppressing or repressing. So, with that said, those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Cotty, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the founder of Restored Minds. And for those of you that have been, following the show for any amount of time, or have been gaining from these episodes, I would really appreciate if you could take some time and do me a favor and like and subscribe, as well as share and even comment and even leave a review on iTunes. Right? I mean, all those things. What they do is they help the algorithm of the show. They help support me, and they help get this out to more people. And this isn't this is one of those things that the more we can get this stuff out to people, the more people can heal, the more people can recover, and ultimately, not it just creates a better overall world, right? When people are feeling more mentally healthy, more mentally balanced. So if you could do that, I would really appreciate it. Now, when it comes to detaching from our emotions, let's talk about what that means. So with OCD and anxiety, we tend to over identify with our emotions. And I'm saying we as a collective, people who struggle with OCD and anxiety. And what happens is we have these feelings in our body. Now they manifest in various ways, right? It might be a racing heart, pit in the stomach, you know, tight chest, very, very different ways that anxiety can present itself. Sweating, right? Hot, hot, feeling a rush, heat in your face, all that. And what happens is we notice the experience. Now, sometimes we understand what happens. We get triggered, right? And the experience kind of comes on. And so we see like, oh, this trigger happened, had these feelings, and we see the whole experience happen in front of us. But sometimes the feelings just come on. Sometimes wake up in the middle of the night feeling this. And really what we're talking about is this fight or flight response that we're noticing in our body. And when you are experiencing these feelings, the number one thing that people do is they identify with them. And in our private community, actually in TBC Plus, for those of you that are members, one of our members shared this, and I loved it this week. And so shout out to Nicole, actually, if you're listening to the podcast, because I just thought it was such an amazing share. Because she was sharing that in I believe it was some language. Gosh, I want to say it was Ireland, or I could be wrong about that. But when they use the language of an experiencing an emotion, they don't identify with the emotion. They talk about the emotion as something that has fallen upon them, right? Meaning they recognize the idea that they are separate from their emotions. And the emotion is this temporary experience that kind of comes upon. But the constant is the individual who experiences the various emotions that we experience. And in the English language and in Western society, we do a poor job of identifying with our emotions because we have limited words to use. And what that does is it causes us to misidentify, right, with emotions and misidentify ourselves. So what do I mean by that? Well, think about, when someone's feeling anxious, a common phrasing we'll say, when I have clients all the time, right? People in programs, people in the community, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm anxious, right? I am anxious, right? Like I am a feeling, right? Like I am depressed, I am happy. the reality is that's not who you are, right? Because if that was true, then it's like that wouldn't change. It would just be your constant, right? It's just, but the thing is, emotional states change, right? Emotion is, in many ways, it's energy, right? I mean, like, I love that phrase of emotion is energy in motion, right? If you hyphenate it. And, the energy is just something that we experience. It's neither, and the laws of thermodynamics, right? I talk about this in Taking Back Control. First law of thermodynamics is energy is neither it's neither created or destroyed. It's just transmitted, it just moves, right? And we can't destroy energy. Emotion is just energy, and it's something that it's moving through us, right? Or it's moving, on us, in us, whatever you want to call it, right? But it's not us, and that key distinction is so important in our recovery, because when you believe that you are your emotions, when you experience them, and again, when I say believe, it's just that story that's going on in your mind. If you're like, I'm anxious, well, then what's going to happen is you're going to get reactive to it, and then you're going to resist it, and then you're going to try to change it. And that's where really all our problems come with emotion, is when we resist and we try to get rid of or suppress or repress or change our emotional states without the willingness to experience what we're experiencing. That's really where, like, if you had to like signal a point of where things go haywire, that's it right there. So in this episode, I just want to share and really talk about the idea of, well, in order to not have that haywire part, go, or not, not have everything go haywire, the first step becomes with detaching from our emotion and recognizing that it's not who we are. It's not like, I am not anxious, I am not happy, I am not sadness or whatever. It's the emotional state that I'm experiencing is just what I am experiencing at that time. It is separate than me. Okay. And when it comes to anxiety, panic, feelings of depression, right? Stress, yes, they are uncomfortable, right? Like, please don't, like, I'm not going to tell you anything other than that. They are extremely uncomfortable, wildly uncomfortable, but they are temporary experiences. No one has ever been anxious permanently. No one's ever been happy permanently, at least not to my knowledge, or depressed or hungry or, whatever, right? The emotional state is a temporary experience that we, the observer, have. In detaching yourself from your emotions, what that will allow you to do is to not be so reactive to them and to start responding to them, right, in healthier ways. Because that's the problem with the language that we use, right? It starts with the language we use. It's like when someone says, like, and I do this a lot in session, and it bugs people sometimes, but it's like, it's so important. It's like someone's like, well, I'm anxious, and I'll be like, no, that's not who you are. You're feeling anxious, right? And we to interject, or I'm noticing the feeling of anxiety, right? The language we use is so important with our recovery. Gotta pay attention to that. You cannot mindlessly just use language that you feel like using, right? Because how you see yourself in this is going to determine what you do, and what you do is going to determine your results. So noticing that is critical for your success. And I was thinking about, even in like the Greek, or in biblical language, right? We use this one word, love, in the English language, and when you look at the translation of the Bible, right? Like, that word love, there was 5 different words that's just all scattered around that meant totally different things. From agape to eros to I can't list all the Greek ones right now. I knew them at one point, but the point is, it's just when we use the word love in our language, it's such a limited term, right? He's like, you don't love your brother the same way you love your child, right? Or your spouse, or video games, or pizza, right? But we use this word love collectively. It's the same thing. It's like, when we describe language and how we describe it, or when we describe feelings and how we describe it, is so important because it's going to shape our perception. And the first step when it comes to recovery, right, is detaching from your thoughts. And then secondly, from your feelings. It's not that you aren't experiencing them. We are not trying to get rid of them. We are not acknowledging them. We are not burying them, or we're not saying they're too dangerous to feel. But we have to see it as something other than us. It is an experience that we are having, and that's not who we are. So important. Okay. And I just wanted to share that in this episode. It's late here, actually, where I am in my house. My daughters just went down to sleep, and I wanted to get an episode in today. So I have a little bit different background today with everything. So anyways, for those of you that are looking for help on this journey, right, please, head over to Restored Minds. We have various programs all the way from, our one-on-one intensive to group programs to our, educational resources and courses. And we have, live workshops. We offer various resources. So it's like, if it's something that you're struggling with and this is a journey that you're looking to get help on, and by all means, I think you should, right? No one should go on this alone. Get guidance, get guidance from people that have done this. It will shorten your recovery, right? If there's one certainty that I know, it's like the biggest shortcut to recovery or anything in life is finding someone who's done what you want to do and following them and help and having them guide you, because you avoid all the missteps. So, if that's something you're looking for, head over to Restored Minds. We have a little link down in the notes for a free resource you can get started with. You can also reach out to us just directly on our site. So with that said, key takeaway for the episode today is detaching from your thoughts and feelings, or detaching from your feelings. I'm sorry. Not seeing them as you, not identifying with them, but also at the same time, not burying them or repressing or suppressing, really seeing them as the observer, and detaching enough so you give the space for them to happen and you don't get so reactive to them. So hope that helps. And we'll continue this as we continue this series. And if you have any requests for episodes and things that you want me to talk about in the future, or, ideas, please send them to me, and yeah, you just send them right over to, support@restoredminds.com. You can message me on Instagram. You leave comments below, and again, we take them and we love them, and we take them very seriously. So thank you guys for your support. Again, help us out by liking and subscribing and sharing. And yeah, the links in the notes are for you to support you and to get you started on this journey. So have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Take care.